The killing fields have been wreathed with many bodies, and it's only week 14 of the NFL season. After tonight's Monday Night Football game, which will likely have playoff implications for at least one of those teams between the Vikings and Seahawks, I have decided to make a list of all the standings for each division and make my own playoff predictions. Yes, I understand that there are 3 more weeks to be played, but after several teams were mathematically eliminated from the playoff race and others clinched their division, I think now is as good a time as ever to lay out the blueprints for what the playoffs may look like come January. Starting in the AFC East, the Patriots are first, even after that embarrassing defeat last night, at 9-4. Behind them, the Dolphins, who still have a legitimate shot at playoff contention at 7-6. Meanwhile, the other 2 companions have both been mathematically eliminated from the playoffs in the Bills and Jets. Thank you, Jets. The AFC West, you have the Chiefs, who just clinched themselves a playoff spot after their victory over the Ravens. 11-2 is their record, and depending on the game on Thursday, that will decide whether they are division champs or have to clinch the 3rd seed wild card spot. Same story for the Chargers. They're 10-3. They've clinched a playoff spot, and depending on the game on Thursday, they can either go for a chance at the AFC West title or clinch the 3 seed. The Broncos, while they still are playoff contenders, for now, you can already cross them off your list. They're 6-7. They just lost against the 49ers, and their little hot streak there has ended. If they lose one more game, or if the Texans win one more game, they are eliminated from the playoffs outright. The Raiders are mathematically eliminated from the playoffs as they went 3-10. And that, Steelers, is why you never underestimate opponents that have nothing to play for. Now, your picture in the playoffs is crippled because you underestimated an opponent that had nothing to play for. Did you not watch Trinidad defeat the United States? They had nothing to play for, and they humiliated the United States. Never underestimate opponents that have nothing to lose. As for the AFC North, the Steelers, after having embarrassingly lost to the Raiders, are 7-5-1. They still hold the lead in the AFC North simply because it's a fucking horrible division. The Ravens, however, have a paper-soft schedule, and I see them going 10-6 or 9-7, depending on how well they play against the Chargers. The Steelers, however, have to play the Patriots and Saints. So, they better start winning now, otherwise their season is fucked. Afterwards, you've got the Browns at 5-7-1. And as long as the Steelers win one more game, or the Ravens win 2 more games, they are mathematically eliminated from the playoffs. The Bengals, who are still technically in the race, would need the Browns, Ravens, and Steelers to lose all of their games, while the Titans and Colts lose both of their games as well. That's not happening, and as soon as one of those things happens, they will be eliminated from the playoffs as well. The AFC South, you have the Texans leading that division at 9-4. They will most likely clinch the playoffs after winning their next game, and afterwards the AFC South is theirs. The Titans and Colts are tied at second at 7-6. Considering that they both hold the same record and both have shots at the playoffs, it'll be really fun to see what happens in the AFC South, especially after the Titans completely humiliated the Jaguars, who are last in the league and eliminated from the playoffs at 4-9. Man, how a few games can completely change a team's chemistry. Anyways, regardless, onward to the NFC. In the NFC East, you have the Cowboys leading that weak-ass excuse for a division. It's 8-5 after defeating the Eagles in overtime last night. Speaking of the Eagles, they're second in the division at 6-7, and unless something seriously goes wrong with the Cowboys, you can pretty much mark their season as over. best case scenario, they're 9-7 and miss out the playoffs anyways. The Redskins are 6-7, and as you saw after getting humiliated at home to the Giants, their season is over. You may as well cross them off your list. The Giants are 5-8, and even if they won their next 3 games, they would still be at odds with the Seahawks and Vikings for that wild card spot, so I would knock them off my list anyways. In the NFC West, you have the Rams, who clinched their division last week at 11-2. Since they clinched their division, that's an automatic playoff bid. The Seahawks, however, are 7-5, and depending on how well they play tonight against the Vikings, they could get a playoff stench, and I personally believe that they will make the playoffs. As for the Arizona Cardinals and San Francisco 49ers, they're both 3-10, and they've both been mathematically eliminated from the playoffs. In the NFC North, you have the Chicago Bears, who just came off a stunning upset from the Rams. And as long as they can win one more game, they clinch the NFC North and therefore gain a playoff spot. In second place are the Vikings, who, once again, depending on how they play tonight, may get playoff aspirations if they can defeat the Seahawks. In third place is the Packers, whose season is all but over in name. They are 5-7-1 and have no chance of coming back after losing to the goddamn Cardinals, at home nonetheless. Just embarrassing season, and another waste of Aaron Rodgers' career. And in last are the Lions at 5-8. Even after their victory last night, they are still last, and as long as the Packers, Vikings, or Bears win one more game, they're eliminated from the playoffs too. And let's see, the NFC South, you have the Saints, who clinched that division this week after defeating the Buccaneers, and they're now 11-2. Due to this, they get an automatic playoff bid, and from the way things are going, they might get a first-round bye as well. In second are the Carolina Panthers, surprisingly enough, who started the season 6-2, but have lost 5 straight. I wouldn't bet money on them, much less inanimate objects. Their season is over, and as are the Buccaneers and Falcons. While the Buccaneers are still in third place and have a chance at the playoffs, they would need to win their next 3 games, have the Panthers lose their next 3, and and the Vikings would have to lose all of their games. So no, that's not going to happen. Buccaneers are crossed off the list, and the Falcons, after their embarrassing defeat last night, are also crossed off the list at 4-9. So, to recap, there have been 7 teams completely eliminated from the playoffs, and we have 2 teams that have already clinched their division. And this is just week 14. We still got 3 more weeks of regular season football. Now, as for my predictions for the playoffs, in the AFC ticket, I've got the Chiefs, who are first, and they'll probably finish the season 14-2 or 13-3. It doesn't matter which, they'll still get that first ticket and a bye week. The Patriots, I have coming in second at 12-4. I think they'll win their next 3 games, especially against the Steelers, considering that their morale is at an all-time low. Why not crush it? You know what I mean? Besides, they're their kryptonite. They can't beat them if they tried. In third place, I have the Chargers at 12-4. While I don't think they'll beat the Chiefs, I think they'll beat the Ravens and their next opponent for a easy wild card spot at 3. You know you're in a good division when your third seed is 12-4 and has to play in the wild card. In fourth, I have the Texans at 11-5. I think they'll lose one more game, but they'll clinch the AFC South easily. And just because the AFC is fucking loaded this year, they'll probably be the 4th seed. Now, as for the 5th seed, I have the Ravens at 9-7. If it weren't for the Steelers losing 3 consecutive games and looking like total dog shit, I would have put the Steelers here, but, I mean, shit. They're probably going to lose against the Saints and Patriots, and even if they do beat the Bengals, that puts them at 8-7-1. And, of course, I think the Ravens will lose to the Chargers, but then win their paper-easy schedule after that, and that'll put them at 9-7 and a half a game ahead, so they'll be in there by default. And then in the 6th seed, I still can't decide, because it is a death grip between the Titans, Colts, and Dolphins. Any one of those teams can take it, and I'm not going to make any bets until the next 3 weeks fold. As for the NFC ticket, I do have it pulled out. In the first seed, I have the Rams going 14-2. I think they're the best team in the entire NFL, and I think they're going to steamroll everyone to another Super Bowl. The greatest show on turf 2.0. What a goddamn travesty. In the second seed, I have the New Orleans Saints at 13-3. They're a very tough team. You can never underestimate Drew Brees, and due to the NFC South falling on its ass, I don't really see the Saints finding a way to fuck this up for themselves. Unless, of course, they play the Rams in the NFC Championship, which is highly likely. The Bears, I have them in the third seed at 11-5. I think they've all but clinched the NFC North, and they've very much earned this turnaround season for them. Congratulations. In fourth, I have the Cowboys by default at 10-6, simply because they win that weak-ass NFC East. I mean, even if the Eagles win their next 3 games, the Cowboys win via tiebreaker because they beat the Eagles twice. So, yeah, that really sucks. Fuck you, Jerry Jones. In the fifth seed, I have the Seahawks at 10-6. I think they get that wild card spot simply because they're a really strong team, and I don't see them losing unless they find ways to lose the game for themselves. And in the sixth seed, this is kind of controversial, but I have the Minnesota Vikings at 9-6-1. I would have put the Eagles here at 9-7, but I don't think they're going to win against the Rams. And at that point, they'd just be here by default anyways. So, oh well. So yes, to recap, in the AFC, 1, Chiefs, 2, Patriots, 3, Chargers, 4, Texans, 5, Ravens, 6, undecided. In the NFC, 1, Rams, 2, Saints, 3, Bears, 4, Cowboys, 5, Seahawks, 6, Vikings. I really wish that the NFL season could end today so we could see the havoc of the Steelers, but oh well. Gotta wait another 3 weeks, I guess. Anyways, this has been Trey McGathan, and I'll be seeing you soon.